welcome back to my channel. My name is Dina. Yes, my middle name really is Joy. You can ask my mom. We are in the garden today, Zone 7B in North Carolina. It is a little bit nice and overcast right now in the evening, and that's when I like to go out and do some garden maintenance, if not early in the morning before that hot sun comes out. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to spot tomato hornworms, also known as tobacco worms, because they will eat up your tomato plants and tobacco plants apparently, but I don't grow any of that. That's what people tell me, because that's another big crop here in North Carolina. So let's go into the garden and I'll show you the first way to spot tomato hornworms. So we're here in my tomato rows, and in my June garden tour video, I told you guys that we planted a bunch of these onions in our tomato rows to help keep the pests away. Well, apparently the tomato hornworms are fearless and are not affected too much by the onions. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you this plant, the first sign that you have a tomato hornworm. So here we have a nice Mr. Stripey tomato plant climbing up our cattle panel trellis, and if we move down, what we see here is some bird droppings, but also these black little dots. That is hornworm poop. Now, as gross as that sounds, this is a really easy way to spot whether you have hornworm action. Oh, I'm sorry, let me zoom back in there. So they are just black little specks, and I think the bigger they get, their poop looks more like tiny grenades, and I'll have an example of that here shortly. And here you can see where the hornworm has actually bit half this leaf off, and I was not able to find the hornworm with my own two eyes. So what that tells me is either the bird that left this got that worm, ate him up, or he is somewhere else on the plant that I have not been able to spot. And my second tool that I use to spot tomato hornworms will find him if he's still on this plant. So that's sign number one. Now I'm going to show you a different tomato plant over here where the hornworm is still on the plant. Got a beautiful sunset forming over here. It's gonna be nice. As I'm taking you to this plant over here, I gotta admit, hornworms really gross me out. Right up there with like slugs. I don't like those giant slugs. I found a giant slug on one of my cucumber plants the morning after I planted it. I'll throw up a screenshot of that. And this variety of slug I haven't seen in a couple years, thank goodness. And usually it's a smaller slug. Maybe it's the baby version of those, and this one just grew up or something, but I'm not too sure about that. Slugs really gross me out, but I don't do the salt thing. I don't kill them. I kind of just like walk them out, hoping that they're too slow to make it back to my garden. Hornworms, however, I do get rid of. I know that's not the vegan way. It's not the Jedi way. But they are just so destructive that I can't risk them eating up my plants. So I know some people feed them to their chickens, but we don't raise chickens. And so that's just what I gotta do. So I'm gonna flip this around and show you this hornworm live in action. Right here we have one of my favorite tomatoes. This is a Cherokee purple variety. And let's zoom in. There's the poops. See, this one's a little bit bigger, looking a little bit more like a grenade. Let me use my fancy zoom here to show you. Come on, fancy zoom, there we go. They start forming like little I don't know, bumps on them. And I swear, if you have a giant hornworm, it looks like a poop grenade. Okay, I've got goosebumps already because I hate these things. So on the underside of this leaf, let me get this to focus. There we go. I don't even want to touch it with my hand, so I'm putting my glove on right now. On the underside of this leaf, you know, I'm just gonna pop off this leaf actually. Right here. There he is. There's the culprit. That is a tomato hornworm, and as you see, he's got an actual horn, so that's where it gets its name. And I'll set this down so I can zoom in for you. So there's a good view of it. They start to form all these patterns, white stripes with spots on them. You can see how much he's eaten of this leaf. And this is a pretty big guy. They get huge though. As you can see, it's not even as big as my finger yet, but they get as big as my finger. And that is another reason why they freak me out so much. So we're gonna get rid of him, and I want to make sure there's no other guys on here. There's some more bird poop, so maybe they were hunting and they just couldn't spot that one. Usually there's not more than one on a plant if you're out in the garden every day checking your plants. But if you don't, you will get a lot of these guys real quick. Got some nice sets forming on this plant right here, where I've also spotted some hornworm poop right there, right here. So I'm gonna inspect this plant a little bit, make sure that nobody's still hanging out here. This poop is pretty small, so this hornworm won't be as big as that other one, I'm guessing. They grow so fast, let me tell you. I'll come back out here with my super secret weapon later this evening to make sure that there's nobody on this plant. But luckily, the birds do work for you. That's why we put up bird houses on each post of our garden, because they are beneficial for things like caterpillars and other bugs that will eat up your plants. In addition to birds, there's some wasps that are also predators to those tomato hornworms. What they will do is lay eggs on the actual caterpillar body, and when those eggs hatch, and maybe even before, but when the eggs hatch, they'll feed off of the caterpillar's whole body, I guess, because they soak up all those good nutrients that they're getting while they're eating your leaves, while they're eating all that foliage. And so the wasps use the caterpillar and basically use that as their baby food. And so if you find a tomato hornworm with like little white egg looking beads all over it, just leave it be, and it'll take care of itself. Nature will take care of itself. Whew, those things gross me out really bad. And when it gets dark, I'm going to show you how I find the rest of the hornworms that you can't see with the naked eye. So looking forward to that, I guess. So hunting these worms isn't my favorite thing to do. These caterpillars though, they're probably my worst enemy out here in the garden, so could be a lot worse since we have this big gate, this physical barrier. You know, we don't have bunnies or deer that come in here. Now we do have deer in the area. I'll post a little video that I took just a few days ago. We pulled up and had a little visitor just kind of eyeing our garden. So if these caterpillars are the worst that I deal with, I'm very grateful because I have these easy ways to spot them, and I hope you guys get some use out of this. I'm gonna, like I said, come out here later on and do the rest of this video for you, and I think you'll get a kick out of the second way that I find tomato hornworms. See you later. While I'm out here though, I want to show you on one of my other favorite tomato varieties. This is a sun gold cherry tomato. We've got these awesome sets forming. Look how long that branch is. Then up here we've got the same. I want to show you how I prune my tomato plants. We usually keep a single leader. So that's the main stem right here. And as you can see off the main stem, we kind of have these 90-degree angles right here that grow off of the main stem. And as it grows, you can see where I've trimmed what is called sucker leaves. I've trimmed those already, and as we move up to where the new growth is, you can see some fresh sucker leaves. So here's the main stem. There's those 90-degree angles, and coming out of the 90-degree angles are the sucker leaves. So they'll form 45-degree angles. If they're small like this, you can just pinch them off. This one I'm gonna take some clippers and clip that off because it's a little thick. So what this does is it allots all of the energy that is coming from your awesome soil. It's gonna shoot that energy right here to the top of the plant, to the new growth, instead of splitting it with the new growth and this sucker leaf. Because what will happen here is you'll grow tomatoes from these too, but it just will make a wider plant, you know, make kind of more of a bush tomato rather than a tall tomato that climbs the trellis. And since we have a lot of room to climb, we're just going to keep it shooting up. So we're going to keep that energy at the top of the plant always. And that's why, like I said, down here you've seen my past prunings, and sometimes you have to come back. Like I pruned this already, and then it's growing another sucker, so you just pinch that right off. Oh man. Okay, so here, I'm glad I showed you guys this because I have found some more hornworm poop, but right next to it I see the little guy right there. You see how baby that is? That's how small they start off. Actually, they start off smaller than that. But it can grow from that to the one I just showed you in like a day or two. That's how much they'll eat the plant. So I'm gonna get rid of that guy. And yeah, I'm glad I checked that out. So yeah, pruning, hornworms, that's how I take care of my tomato plants, and that's how I get some beautiful harvests. I've returned to this plant with my snips, and we're just gonna cut that sucker leaf right off. And what you can actually do if you have a sucker leaf that is at least this size, if it's bigger, even better, is that this will make a brand new tomato plant. You can stick this in water. Like if I had a little container full of water right here with me, I would stick it right in, and in a few days some roots would form right at the bottom of that. As you can see, like, you know, tomato plants have these little hairs, and if you put it in water, roots will start growing out. You've got a brand new tomato plant. It's basically like a little clone of your plant. I'll actually show you some tomato sucker leaves that I've stuck in water and have now planted in some soil so that I can have plenty of tomatoes in case, say, a hornworm does eat up a whole entire plant of mine. I have backups. I always say plant more than you need, because in a back to Eden method in a permaculture type situation, especially, you just want to plant more than you need, because you're growing an ecosystem that industrial agriculture has totally wiped out in that style. So as you do that, you are going to have creatures, you're going to have bugs. It's just part of the environment, and stuff's going to happen sometimes, you know. So I always plant more than I need, and I always have backups, especially with methods like taking sucker leaves and turning them into brand new plants. I mean, how easy is that? That's free food on top of like really cheap food, and it's all organic. You know that you're not spraying your plants like industrial agriculture and whatnot. So it's a win-win. I just want to show you this awesome pepper plant. I think the foliage is beautiful. It's like a dark purple color, and right now the peppers are purple, and I haven't grown this variety before. It's called Ted's Hot Multicolored Pepper. The blooms are purple too. Oh, sorry, as you can see back there. But man, this is a gorgeous plant. I'm really enjoying watching this grow. Also, while we're here, check out these beautiful babies forming. Oh man, I am so stoked about these cukes. We have some more down here too, forming. I just love too how they grab onto the trellis. That is such a cool design, and look at that. That is beautiful. Got a little spider web here. We like the spiders. We like them because they don't damage your plants, or they haven't to any of mine so far. The worst thing about spiders is that sometimes I'll walk through a web, but ain't no biggie. I don't do that a lot. They really just form webs in like closer, like tight areas, so not often through the walkways of my garden or anything, which is nice. Plus, haven't y'all read Charlotte's Web? Little baby zucchini right here. I love to eat zucchini, so I'm super excited about those as well. While I'm waiting for it to get dark, came over here to our arch trellises, where I've got a few tomato plants that are outside of the gated garden, just to prune them up. As you can see right here, got a sucker leaf. Trim that. There's that 90-degree angle, and that was coming out of there. So we'll trim that guy. Over here, we've got a bigger one. So here's the main stem right there. And there's some sucker leaf right there. And like I said, you could stick that in water and it will root. Or you can just toss it and it will compost back. But check out all the tomatoes on this plant. Yummy. That's exciting. Luckily, I do not see any hornworm poops on this plant. We'll see later tonight if there are any hidden ones. I also like to prune just some leaves that are turning yellow or near the bottom of the plant, just to shoot up that energy even more. There's another sucker leaf right here. That's one you could pinch off, but since I have the snips right here, we're just gonna snip it off. There's another one right here. Oh man. Is that a hornworm? No. Thought that was a hornworm for a second. Let's see, there's There's a little baby sucker leaf. Let me take this glove off. So I train my plants up a string until they hit the trellis, and I just kind of wrap it around. As you can see, it's swirled around the plant, so eventually it'll hit this arch trellis right here. It'll climb on up, but it's not big enough for that yet, so that's why we've got the string in place. And this is a lemon boy tomato, so these actually, they don't get too big. They turn like a nice yellow. I've actually got one inside. I'll show you guys. Welcome to my kitchen, guys. I've done a few recipes in here, so if you've seen some other videos on my channel, then you've been here before. So I wanted to pull out some tomatoes that I did harvest. So sometimes I'll harvest them while they're still green, and I'll let them ripen by the windowsill. And so this is a lemon boy tomato. As you can see, it's just a very medium, small to medium sized tomato. And I forget what variety this is. It might be a better boy tomato, but definitely I'm like more of a red slicer. I really like the taste of these yellow tomatoes. Like I told you earlier, I think mine goes Cherokee purple at the very top, then the sun gold cherry tomatoes, and then maybe the lemon boys. But I've got a few new varieties that I'm growing this year, so we'll see how those taste. Say hi to my cats, y'all. Hey guys, you getting some of that good water? Yeah. They're silly. They're sweet boys, though. Look at that. Look at that face. Hey, Dubé. This is Mangle. And that's Dubé. You waiting for your turn at the water bowl? Oh, he's gonna steal his turn. I love these guys. Yes, I do. What's good, guys? Welcome to the second part of my video. So what I've got here is an LED blacklight flashlight, and we're gonna use this thing to spot hornworms in the garden. Let's go inside now. Alright, so when you shine this UV flashlight on the tomato plant, it glows purple. And as you can see right here, anything that is green, such as a hornworm or this bug right here, is gonna glow bright fluorescent green. And that's how you can find hornworms with a black light. We're all clear. I suggest wearing some pants when you come out here to do this if you're like me and mosquitoes love you, and it will make this whole process really painless and actually quite fun. There's another tomato plant. So we come down. Can you guys see it? Another hornworm. Glowing super bright. So I've just found 2 more hornworms, found 3 earlier today, so that's a total of 5 that would have put some damage on my plants if I had left them to grow. So very thankful for these 2 methods. And that does it for the video today. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Please share this with somebody who might find it useful. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if this has helped you out today. And as always, keep growing.